Ladies and gentlemen, today I've got a Demon Hunter guide for you, brought to you by my friend Chosen. And what we're going to be doing today is sort of walking through a general use Demon Hunter build that you can be using for most things today. And we're going to start with the skills, go to legendary items and sets, and then we'll go from there. So how are you doing today, Brad?
Hey, what's up, Darth? Good to see you. Thanks for having me on the channel. It's always fun to touch base and collaborate with you.
Yeah, pleasure to have you today. I'm going to fix your camera while you get going. And why don't you tell us about the skills you use in your build here?
Sure, yeah. So the one nice thing about Demon Hunter is you've kind of got a decently universal way you can play. You don't have to swap stuff quite to the extent that some other classes do. Typically, your general utility build is going to have 3 skills guaranteed out of the 4 that you have a choice on. The default 99% of the time is going to be crossbow shot. It's just the explosive arrow can be nice because you get a little bit more of like an AoE effect, but crossbow shot just a little bit more consistent in terms of what it's going to output based on what your specialty is as a Demon Hunter. Now, when you move into your cooldown skills, your abilities besides your default, there's 3 that are basically going to be guaranteed, and it's the ones that are the kind of top 3 on my bar, and you'll have to play around with which button is and which rotation of touching your screen or your controller works for you. But Vengeance and Multi-Shot and Rain of Vengeance are going to be kind of the staples that are in most builds you're going to be doing. And then for that last spot, you're going to choose a flex pick. If you're in PvP, you would take something like Daring Swing to that's like the Spider-Man ability where you grab the screen or the ceiling and get away. So it can be really handy for PvP. I typically take that off and go with Sentry instead if I'm doing content, like if I'm open world farming. Sentry's great to be able to drop and keep tagging mobs to keep kill streaks going. It can be great in dungeons and challenge rifts for getting a bunch more DPS onto the boss. So that's typically, like, if I had to pick one general build, it would be the one you see right here on screen, with the default ability being crossbow shot, and then going with Sentry for what we just talked about, Rain of Vengeance as a big drop damage dealer, Multi-Shot as an AoE damage dealer, and then obviously our only buff in Vengeance, which is going to greatly increase our DPS output.
Gotcha. Okay, so those are the abilities you use. Now, are you using those abilities because there's some legendary items in particular that make these abilities way better?
Not really. There are some items that are kind of cool. Like the Hungerer here is going to make your crossbow shot. It's going to synergize really well with that, especially when you're doing things like dungeons and just trying to clear content and hit as many things as possible. Flame Spite does make multi-shot better. This is actually really good. You get like the damage over time burn. That can be really effective in things like Shadow Wars. You just constantly keep that burn up on the Immortal and keep those damage ticks rolling. You get the pants. You can get things that pair with Vengeance, which is what my pants and my helm, Vision of the Lost, are going to do. My armor is going to, decrease the cooldown of Vengeance. Really, Vengeance is our whole rotation. That's your buff. So what you'll typically do if you're doing a challenge rift or some sort of solo content, during that, it depends on your build, that like 5 to 10 seconds that you've got cooldown for Vengeance, you run around, you group stuff up, and then when you have everything ready, you pop Vengeance, and then you pop your abilities and just blast everything down. So the whole build kind of centers around what you're going to do with that Vengeance cooldown. And then you can see my shoulders, they pair with multi-shot because I use that a lot and just get a little bit of extra damage with it.
Gotcha. So is this build in particular, if it's all around the Vengeance, is it in particular for PvE or PvP, or is there a certain aspect that this really excels at?
That playstyle for Demon Hunter is pretty universal. Like, I'm not going to take an engagement in PvP if my Vengeance is on cooldown. You really don't want to be doing that. It just helps you out so much. I can pull up Vengeance for anybody thinking about going Demon Hunter and just explain why it's so ridiculous. So Vengeance down here. So you're going to for 6 seconds, which is an eternity in something like a PvP. It's like an entire engagement. Cause your primary attack to do more damage, which is a huge source of your output. You gain movement speed for each nearby enemy, which can stack 10 times. And then you're also going to be launching extra rockets for damage. If you've got things that pair with it, you're going to lower the cooldown. And really, it's just the buff to everything you do. Movement speed, damage, everything you want. So that's why you center everything based around that. And it's why like 99.99% of Demon Hunter builds are going to be using Vengeance.
Do you believe that you're happy with the Demon Hunter selection? Like after having picked Demon Hunter, are you fairly happy with the class you have available?
Yeah, because you're pretty valuable for like dungeon runs with your clan. Everybody's gonna want a good demon hunter because of the ability to burst down content, and you're also pretty valuable in like the Shadow Wars because you can really crank out a lot of damage onto the immortal. There is kind of a burden of performance when you're a demon hunter because your role is going to be cranking out damage. So the downside of the demon hunter is, you know, maybe if you're playing with friends that you're falling behind, they're not going to get much value from you compared to what they would if you were like a crusader. And it's like, hey, it's okay that you're behind us right now. At least you can drop banner for us and help us do more damage. You don't really have those options as a demon hunter. So there is a little bit of a burden of performance, but you know, I don't really mind that as long as you're diligent about playing the game and keeping up. You should be able to clear content and provide a good damage roll.
So we're talking about Demon Hunters being particularly good in the dungeons because of that damage aspect for bosses, etc. So let's talk about the set rewards you get from the dungeons then. Is there any set bonuses you find yourself using more commonly as a Demon Hunter, ones you would recommend?
You know, I'm not really big on sets until about Hell 4. That might be when I start trying to min-max these sets. But yeah, there are some really good ones. Vithus and things like that would really be something you'd want to get to be a universal staple for a Demon Hunter build. There's probably one that I would recommend starting with.
So Vithus would be the primary one you would go for now. I'm assuming you're just kind of using whatever have the highest stats available for the combat rating at the moment.
Yeah, you know, right now for like Hell 2, Hell 3, you know, 90% of the game revolves around combat rating. So I'm just going for combat rating. Like, does it increase my combat rating? Yes. Okay, put it on. Later on, when we get Hell 4, Hell 5, and especially down the road at the end game, super end game, then it'll be about really the grind of min-maxing each slot and having it be exactly what you want it to be.
And at that point, you think you're going to go for Vithus? Or you think you'll
probably,
be a different set?
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to, you know, reconsider. We may get patches by then and all sorts of different things changing. But yeah, that's a pretty good place to start. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So we'll be starting with Vithus. Okay. Well, let's talk about legendary gems then, I think is probably the next part we need to cover in order to be able to cover all things for the Demon Hunter build. What legendary gems are you using and what ones would you like to use?
Sure. So obviously, Blood-Soaked Jade is like the god tier realm of gems. I would say like the two that you're looking for is going to be Blood-Soaked Jade and then Seeping Bile. I don't have a Seeping Bile. You can see up in the top right, I'm saving up platinum to get me like a 4-star Seeping Bile.
Yeah, yep. You do have a lot of platinum you're saving up there.
So that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to get a Seeping Bile. You really want Blood-Soaked Jade and Seeping Bile. Those two are just incredible for basically every class, but especially Demon Hunter as well. You're really going to notice the Seeping Bile ticks pairing with like your multi-shot burns and stuff like that. As far as like 2 stars, now the Bloody Reach is amazing for a Demon Hunter. So maybe you're a mid-tier spender. Getting a rank 5 Bloody Reach is kind of a good option to go for, and you can go the route of getting like 3 rank 1s to level 10, especially if you're one of those mid-tier spenders. Carson's Invigoration and an Everlasting Torment and Berserker's Eye. Now, the one I'm going to be replacing is the Fervent Fang. It's okay, but it's definitely not going to be anywhere near the realm of a Seeping Bile.
Gotcha. Okay, any last words for the Demon Hunters that might be watching this video? Anything you feel like you want to tell them or abilities that maybe don't work the way that they say they do in the text? Is there any message to other Demon Hunters out there?
No, just make sure and play around your vengeance. You know, I see a lot of Demon Hunters that I end up feasting on in PvP because I see them use vengeance and then I just avoid them for a little bit, and then I engage them and I know I'm gonna have vengeance longer than they do. So even if I can just avoid them for 3 seconds and then pop my vengeance, I'm gonna win that battle. Unless there's like some whale, you know, I just have no chance of competing with them. But if it's an even fight, I'm gonna beat them then. So make sure you manage your vengeance properly and make sure you use your daring swing, the immunity to get away and take proper engagements, and you'll be just fine as a Demon Hunter.
And if more people want to watch your content, where can they find you?
Yeah, just chosen Diablo Immortal on YouTube and twitch.tv/chosen, where we do our weekly hangouts, like the one we're about to do here in about an hour with other great content creators like you.
So as of the posting of this video, we are actually going to be going live and doing a Diablo Immortal podcast. So I will have a link both to Brad's YouTube channel, so you can follow there, as well as the podcast where we will be doing that live for about an hour or two. Typically is how long these podcasts are. So not too long. So come on by if you want to see that. Brad, thanks so much for coming. And we'll see y'all later.
For sure. Thanks, Darth.